funny, climbing is really truly a tribe sort of mentality. When you meet a climber, you might meet him once and know him, you know, for the rest of your life. You'll see him at this crag 2 years later and be good friends. And climbing just bonds people together. So in a lot of ways, these competitions tend to be a gathering of the tribe, so to speak. So it's pretty fun to see people you haven't seen, especially here in Salt Lake during the Outdoor Retailer Show. You know, I see people I haven't seen in 15 years sometimes, and they're just as good of friends, and it's great to see them. So from a competitor standpoint, there's so many young kids that are just getting involved in the sport that they're just coming here and initiating those friendships. It's when they make friends for life right here.
I've always looked at climbing as much more of just I don't know, an activity that we do in nature. It goes beyond being a sport. Of course, it's very athletic, but I like the format that we have and that it has just the right amount of structure. It's not overly structured, and it allows the essence of climbing to kind of come out.
Deep water soloing is definitely the most pure form of climbing. In a lot of ways, I feel like bouldering is the most pure form of climbing, and this is just bouldering much, much higher off the ground, which just allows you more access to a variety of different things, like a variety of different cliffs and whatnot. But yeah, having just that ultimate freedom, just a pair of shoes and a chalk bag, sometimes not even a chalk bag, but you're just climbing free.
I think the Psicobloc is the more pure kind of climb, because you have not a rope, you have not a harness, you have not nothing. Yes, your fingers, no?
There's not as big a consequences for a fall. Like obviously free soloing would be maybe the most free form of climbing, but the consequences in that is a lot of times serious injury or death. And with a pool underneath you or a water source underneath you, you're not having to deal with that. So I think it frees things up to try a lot harder things than you would free soloing.
Usually I compete in either like a bouldering competition or a sport climbing competition. With bouldering, like I said, it's usually not higher than like 15 to 20 feet, and it's like this in the fact that there's no ropes. And then sport climbing, there are ropes and there's draws that you clip into. So this is kind of nice because it combines the two of them. Since there's the water underneath, you don't really need a rope to go that high. And so as a boulderer, I really like this aspect because since I don't sport climb as much, I'm not necessarily the best at finding the best point on the route to clip from. But on this, you don't have to clip. So it's really exciting that you can, it's kind of like climbing a really long boulder problem. So I think that's really awesome.
What sets these competitions apart from every other competition is you basically have a very illustrative way of seeing how climbing can be, how physical, how gymnastic, how dangerous it can look. It's set over a safe setting, which is the pool, but you also have this really graphical, understandable sporting event where you have two climbers pitted against each other, head to head, climbing on the exact same route, and whoever either gets to the top first wins or whoever gets highest wins. And there's no audience confusion. You just see it, you understand it, it looks cool. It's when they take falls, it's a really spectacular thing.
When you fall, it's a very important part of the climb, you know? And when you climb in a boulder, you are very free, but the fall is not important. You fall. But here, when you climb in the Psicobloc, it's the same sensation of the boulder, but much longer. And two, you need to think in the fall all the time. You have the air down, and when you have the habitude to climb Psicoblocs, you climb very easy. You have not too much scary, but you think all the time in the fly, you know? And for that I think is very, very easy. It's amazing.
Traveling internationally has probably been one of the most important things in my life, and climbing has given me that. So that's one of the reasons climbing has been amazing. I think that not only seeing other cultures and just other ways of being. I mean, I was raised in the Midwest and didn't really see myself ever going far away from there. So it's been a surprise to me that I have ended up going all the places I have. But it's really opened my eyes to all the different ways of living and being and all the things people do and the different, how lucky I am in so many ways. And it's also exposed me to just simply like the beauty of the places themselves. Like a place like, I went to Greenland a couple years ago, and just to know that place is out there still right now as we speak is like, it just changes the way that I think about a lot of things. Just to know that these beautiful places exist, and I'll never be able to see all of them. and they'll just always be there. And that's pretty amazing. It's sort of hard to wrap my mind around sometimes.
I think in the end what we want to create is an awesome show, and it's not so much about this regimented sport that's, you know, confined and boxed in by all these rules. You know, I think that's the beauty of climbing, is that it's really free flowing, and I think that's really our goal, is to embody that in this event. It's a really exciting moment in our sport where we're just kind of on the cusp of kind of overflowing into the mainstream. And I think with an event like this, we really have a good chance of succeeding with that. And I think it's a great opportunity for all of the climbers involved and all of the companies that are supporting this to be a part of that. And I think this sport is this type of competition is gonna revolutionize climbing and competition climbing in particular.